It is Monday afternoon of the fourth week that I am on this 222 sustainable full-time author by the end of the year challenge, which is wild. That means this is going to be like essentially a month, 28 days. Where does the time go? So yeah, let's get started. Now this week I did already create my plan for the week, my trusty plan for the week. I'm not going to make you watch me do that week after week, because if you've seen it once, you've seen it every time. I pulled my little slips of paper that have the word counts and mindset tasks on them and put them all in my little planner. Now I do believe this is the week that we're actually going to be gone, that we'll leave on Friday and come back on Sunday. I do believe that's the plan, but things have changed multiple times. So it's always, I feel like with travel plans, apart from when I'm like going to visit, my side of the family in the US, that's fairly set in stone because, plane tickets. But when it's a road trip, things are always need some amount of flexibility. So anyway, this week, I'm going to start working on a new novella, writing a first draft of a new novella. The one I finished yesterday needs to sit for a while before I start reading through it. And most likely I will get these two printed together to do my read through edits because they're quite short, and so I may as well just have that in one document. Speaking of doing reading and doing physical edits, I still have about 27 tabs left on the edits I have been doing. That's a priority this week because I do need to get a final page count so that I can create the template for the paperback and get it to my cover designer and get that pre-order set up as soon as possible, probably early next week is the goal. And let's see what else. Well, it's fun doing these vlogs and just sort of seeing what lessons come up as we go. I am realizing already, I would say, the real importance of the mindset aspect of things. I love that doing this challenge is making me use that EFT tapping tool a little bit more. It's this one, where you're tapping on acupressure points while you're talking yourself through something. I love using that tool, and I don't often think to use it, although I have been using it more, not just like 2 days a week, that's my mindset task of the day, but there have been other times when I just I'm feeling uncomfortable, like I'm having thoughts about something and feelings about something that are creating some sort of discomfort in me, and then I just tap through it, and it's a really, really wonderful tool. Like as you're tapping and you are expressing, like when I do it myself, I don't talk out loud. When I would lead sessions, of course I would talk out loud because otherwise people don't know what we're tapping on. But I'm just kind of talking to myself in my head about this, whatever the thing is that's making me feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's something going on around me in our community, or maybe it's a thought I'm having about my books, whatever it is. I find it really helpful when I am tapping on it. I find it's easier to create some distance between myself and the thought, to not be so identified with the thought or the feeling. So it starts with the more negative side of things, and by the end of it, I tend to be feeling a shift, feeling further away from that uncomfortable feeling and feeling more at peace about whatever the thing is. So I always have it on my radar that it might be helpful at some point to create some tapping videos for the specific things that come up a lot, the sort of author discomfort things about nobody likes my books or something like that, something that's not true, but we feel like it's true. But I've been using it also, focusing a lot on creating a feeling of safety around this goal that I have, around the thought that I would like to, have more visibility on my books as one thing, but I'd also like to, is it safe for me to own a home? Is it safe for me to make more money than I've previously made in my other jobs? These sorts of things, not that is the goal, not that is this is the only reason to do this, is to create more products and sell, but to address that, do I feel like I deserve this, and do I feel like it's safe for me to have this? So that is that's a huge thing there. I think that's why it's really important to have that mindset piece incorporated. And I think going along with all of that too, it's like the goal is to be currently embodying the future reality that is desired. And so I think that's partly why this really feels good. This like having a small number of tasks to do each day is that like, that is what my ideal day looks like. My ideal day isn't going to be, my ideal day for me at least isn't going to be probably like 10,000 words a day. 10,000 words a week feels a lot more sustainable. So there are certainly during this journey going to be weeks where I do write more, especially as I'm realizing now, low energy weeks. So like early days of my cycle weeks, I am going to lower expectations for myself, which means raising them at other times. But I really enjoyed, for example, when I did my whole writing half a book in 3 days challenge. Also, I have seen, I really enjoy A.K. Mulford's YouTube channel, and I have seen these 30,000 words in 3 days challenges that they're doing, which is essentially the same thing that I did with that writing half a book in 3 days, but it looks like fun. So I might have to join one of those whenever that time comes. So the whole point, I think, as I've expressed before, and I'll say it again, is flexibility with life circumstances. There's a chance over the course of this challenge that we're going to be moving countries. And am I going to expect the same level of output in that week? No, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, oh, well, you know, while you're flying, you can write. There's another part of me that's like, there's no way that's happening. There's no way that's happening. When I'm flying, that's my time to like zone out and watch movies and just try not to have restless legs and try to sleep if I can. And if we're actually moving, that means there are going to be cats with us, which means my anxiety level is going to be a little higher than normal, which means expecting myself to do writing during that time. Lovingly, it's bananas. So yeah, we adjust the work down when we can, which means then we adjust it up when it makes sense to do so. But I don't want to always be looking at like, okay, now I have to catch up. You know, last week I only wrote 8,000 words, so that means this week I have to write this many. It's all flexible. All of this is just sort of like the ideal goal. I guess I'd love to have these 20 books, you know, the 20th one on the shelf by my birthday. If it takes until the end of the year, is that a crisis? No, that's still amazing. So anyway, that's enough talking from me. I have to put the air conditioner back on. It's really hot. So I'll check in with you later. The plan for today is 2,500 words, which is quite a bit. I was thinking I was going to get a lot of work done for my other job. That's kind of going slowly this morning. So maybe it's time to start writing. Maybe it's time to start working on batching some Instagram stories. Maybe it's time to start doing some edits in that paper draft that I have. And there's a few other assorted tasks, like I have my books in Overdrive, the library program, through Kobo, and I need to fill out a spreadsheet so that they can be included in an upcoming promotion. So that needs to happen today as well. It's time to like buckle down, listen to some focus beats, and get to work. So enough talking, time to start doing that. Tuesday morning, so I didn't come back on here yesterday. I ended up doing some stuff, batching my Instagram stories and all that, but not really getting into the writing. And I think the problem with that is both that I had the highest word count goal day, and I was starting a new novella that day. So I was not ready to just like dive in and write 2,500 words. I did spend a little bit of time working on the outline, so making sure I have an idea of where the story is going to go. But that was all that really made sense. And there's a couple extra factors with that. So one is I've been using this app, Finch, for it's like a self-care app, I believe. has a cute little bird and it helps you cross off goals and things like that. And generally I try things like this and only use them for a very short time, but I've been using this for like a month and I'm finding it really helpful with reminding me to do various things like stretches for my hip flexors and whatever. So I had made the goal in that app and I'd forgotten about it, but I'd made the goal to stop work by 6 p.m. And so that's also a factor in there, that when it was 8 o'clock and I was like really tired and didn't really want to do writing, then I opened up that app and reminded myself like, oh yeah, I did say that I was going to stop working at 6 p.m. So now I'm taking all of that. I think that might actually be part of the direction of this week's vlog, is that getting back to this idea of keeping work within work hours, and that includes writing and marketing as well, because so often when we work for ourselves or work on our own projects, it can just expand and expand and expand. And certainly if you're working with a full-time job, yeah, you do kind of have to do these things in the morning or in the evening. But for me, I have a flexible job, and so I certainly can get them done during the day. And so I would like to revisit that, because in this goal version of myself, at the end of this, if I am a full-time author, I don't want to be working 16-hour days. I do want to be stopping everything by 5 or 6 p.m. and just having the evenings to enjoy. I think I experienced this a bit during the winter when I was doing so much knitting, because I simply couldn't write in the evenings because I just really wanted to work on my sweater that I was knitting. But in terms of getting things done during the day, the challenge I've been having lately is that my other job has been so inconsistent in terms of availability. And you might be hearing my cat chasing a small little toy around outside. And if you hear that, just imagine that it's really cute, because it is. So, but also this mic might not pick it up. So anyway, instead of getting all my work hours done from my other job, knocking them out and then being able to focus on writing related tasks, I find myself sort of babysitting that job a lot. I work when it's available, and then when it's not, I don't necessarily just transition into writing. I kind of sit there and wait for more work to become available. And that is not sustainable. That keeps me sitting here, unable to do what I really want to do, because task switching is a mental drain. It is a challenge, and it's sort of unavoidable in this season for my other job. So I don't like it. I don't like the task switching, but I do have to somewhat embrace it. And I think what I'm going to do, what I set up today, is a to-do list inside the PomoFocus app so that I could use Pomodoro. So instead of checking every 5 minutes to see if there's work available, once I see that there isn't work, I commit to going and doing 25 minutes of writing or marketing one of those tasks. So yeah, I think that's going to be helpful, instead of, when I see I don't have work available to do, kind of feeling like, oh, what am I going to do? I really want to get this done before I do these other things, whatever. I just go, okay, then this means I'm going to do 25 minutes of editing or 25 minutes of writing or whatever it is. I think that's going to be really helpful. In terms of added sort of task switching, I think the power went out 3 or 4 times yesterday. I don't have explanations for all those things, but it adds in where you're expecting to do a certain thing which requires internet access, and then suddenly you don't have electricity. So I'm just being reminded by life circumstances that flexibility is necessary. This isn't ideal. This amount of switching from one thing to another isn't ideal, isn't really the way that I want to work. But in this season of life, it's what I need to do. And so I'm going to do it the best that I can. So yeah, as I said again, this might be the theme of this video, both the Pomodoros and also the let's be done by 6 p.m. So I like that. But both of those things feel to me like they add to the sustainability of this, because I don't want to spend my evenings doing too much. And I love when I can arrive at 5 or 6 p.m. and just be like, whew, I'm done for the day. So that makes me excited to do it again the next day. Whereas if I'm working on something until 9 o'clock, it does not make me feel that way. So I think that will be a theme for this week, and I suspect we will be revisiting it in the future weeks as well, because often, you know, I get an idea like this and then I start to drift away from it and start doing too much. And then it's like, okay, get back to the focus, which is keeping it as manageable, doable, sustainable as you possibly can. So right now, as I'm signing off here, I am going to go and see if there's work to do. If there is, I'm going to do it. If there isn't, it's time to start probably editing. I'm probably going to work on the tabs on the story that I'm editing. So let's get to it. Thursday morning. There is a fly buzzing around this room, so hopefully it's not going to buzz right in front of you. I make no promises about that. I do not control the flies. So I did not update you at all yesterday, did I? I intended to, and it just didn't happen. Yesterday ended up being an interesting day, though. So I got back into my Pomodoros again, which is, I think, going to be a new level to this. You know, when I think about like the rules, if I turn this into like a formalized thing, that will be one of them. And also the having a stopping time will also be one of them, having those boundaries around work. So yesterday I spent one Pomodoro working on editing that physical draft that I have. I'm so close to finishing that. It'll probably take just one more 25-minute sprint. And I also spent probably about an hour working on editing the video, the next vlog of this sequence. I didn't use a Pomodoro timer for that because the software that I use to edit videos is already working my computer like to its limit. So I'm like, we got to close everything else out. We're not going to have any timers going. Because of all of that, I didn't end up doing any writing because when it was 5, it was time to talk with my parents, and when it was 6, it was time to be done. And I did consider like, oh, I would like to write though. And I was like, this is the theme of this week, and you're being tested. The theme is you got to be done at 6, because if you say you're going to be done at a certain time, you got to be done. So that's great. That's helpful. My plan for today is to finish the edits of that physical draft and also to finish the edits of the video, because I got to the point where I'm like, it's almost done, but I need to add music and I need to add text on screen in a few different places. So I will get both of those things done today. I should also have time to do some writing as well. We're gonna see how it goes, right? So again, it's like as the theme emerges, and I think the theme of this week is very much about those finding the small moments, the 25-minute chunks of time to get work done, and also setting a hard out for when I need to finish work and transition into like more leisure activities. And I expect that to be a theme moving forward as well, because I don't think I'm going to suddenly next week be like, yes, I should work until 10 o'clock at night. That feels great. It just doesn't to me. So that's it. That's the whole plan. We'll see what else happens today. I'd love to do some work on Pinterest. I have a lot of ideas that I just need to now take into Canva and turn into actual pins. And also I need to schedule an email because I have a big free book promotion coming up next week in terms of when I'm recording this, but probably it was like yesterday in terms of when this video actually gets posted. So get out of here, fly. So yeah, good to get on top of that and not have last minute things I need to prepare the day of. All right, so as it turns out, the theme of this week is definitely setting boundaries around work. It's Friday morning and like 8:15, we're getting ready to get going. We're gonna leave, we're gonna be gone until Sunday and come back. And originally I had thought when this trip came around that I would still be able to work on Friday, because originally when we made these plans, it was about a month ago and the weather was quite different. So driving at noon was not a terrible idea, but in the current heat, it definitely would be. So I am, as much as, I would love to always bring my work with me and do more and more and more, I'm leaving my computer behind. I'm not expecting anything from myself today, tomorrow, or Sunday. I might come back on here Sunday to give an update. I might not. I feel like it's probably not going to happen. I think I'm going to be really tired. So that's a wrap for this week. I'll be back again next week to dive back in. And I suspect that taking 3 full days off of this work will be energizing. So just a reminder that your schedule works for you, you don't work for it. So I'll see you next time.